Start of the fourth week of the Russian invasion of Ukraine as global condemnation of the aggression against civilian targets intensifies.
US President Joe Biden called Putin a war criminal, while the Ukrainian President Zelensky revealed that Russian forces had bombed a theatre filled with women and children. The word children was even painted on the ground outside the area.
Asami Terajima works as a journalist for the Kyiv Independent and joins us from Lviv now this morning. A very good morning to you. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, fourth week, more bad news. The news just seems to get worse and worse, and the targets seem indiscriminate. Do you think they're deliberately chosen?
Of course, they are deliberately targeting civilians because the Russian military has faced strong resistance from the Ukrainian army. So rather than going against the Ukrainian army, they've been targeting civilians, children. So that's why they've been destroying civilian infrastructure, including residential buildings, hospitals, schools, because they know that civilians will not fight back, and they're just trying to destroy the cities.
So dreadful, horrific accounts of this theatre housing, some papers saying 1,000 civilians, mostly families with children, others saying 1,200. Reports of 10 people being killed queuing for bread yesterday, others murdered as they were going through humanitarian corridors trying to evacuate. So President Biden coming out and saying, yes, I do think Putin is a war criminal, but the Kremlin haven't taken that very well, have they?
No. Yes, we see. We need more. We need more sanctions. We need more. I mean, yes, President Biden did more yesterday. He gave us more. $800 million in new military aid. But at the same time, we need more. We need more defense, air defense systems. We need more. Sanctions. We need to make sure that Kremlin is punished more, because we see yesterday what we saw. Deputy mayor of Mariupol said that up to 1,200 people were there in the shelter. These people they have lost their homes in Mariupol, because in Mariupol there are still 300,000 people who are still stuck there, cut off from electricity, water, and heat, and they're running out of food and drinkable water. So, and many children are dying out of dehydration. Shelling is going nonstop. They need to evacuate, but Russia keeps, they're not allowing civilians to evacuate massively. Like there's been like about 20,000 people evacuated, but we need more because there's 300,000 people in the city. So we are really running out of time, because if there's no massive, breakthrough made in the next few days, then thousands of people in Mariupol are going to die.
Yeah. Asami, you tell me all that factually and passionately as well. And yet this response from the Kremlin, they rage over unforgivable remarks that their president would be considered a war criminal. It beggars belief, doesn't it?
I would ask Kremlin to look at all the atrocities that they're causing, all the war crimes, all the hostilities that they're, causing in Ukraine. If you just even have a look at all the videos, or maybe a picture even of what they're doing here, all the airstrikes, all the shelling, and all the children being, killed, and they're crying because their mothers many of them have also lost their mothers and fathers, and many old people, and just everyone, they're targeting anyone like indiscriminately, and this is very visible if you follow the news what's happening in Ukraine. So this is the Kremlin. The Kremlin is trying to protect themselves, but it's not working, because everyone in the whole world knows what's happening, and we're all and all the journalists here, we're all making sure that the world witnesses all the war crimes that Russia is doing here.
Let's end on a note of hope, shall we? Sergei Lavrov, who hasn't been known necessarily for being very hopeful throughout all of this, indicating that peace talks were making progress.
Yes. Ukraine side, it was also reported yesterday that yes, there was a progress between Ukraine and Russia during the peace talks, but we are also very worried because Financial Times published this 15-point, peace talk. They were like some kind of there was some, like Ukraine had to say, denounce its interest to join NATO, and there were several, things that Ukraine had to do in order to secure this, to have the security guarantees, and for Russian troops to be withdrawn from the Ukrainian territory. So we're not sure what to think of it yet, because yes, Ukrainian side. There's been reports that Ukraine side have also said that there has been some progress, but at the same time we're just worried because we can never trust Russia. And as you can see from what happened in 2000, the Minsk agreements that we signed with Russia in 2014, 2015, they didn't work. So, and we can never trust Russia. And how can we trust a war criminal like Putin?
Asami Terajima, thank you very much indeed. She is a journalist for the Kyiv Independent. We're getting some news coming in from the Ministry of Defence.
Yes, the British Ministry of Defence just announcing in the last few moments an update on their intelligence, reporting that the Russian invasion of Ukraine has largely stalled on all fronts. They say forces have made minimal progress on land, sea or air in recent days, and they continue to suffer heavy losses. But by comparison, the Ministry of Defence say Ukrainian resistance remains staunch, well coordinated, and the vast majority of Ukrainian territory, including all major cities, remains in Ukrainian hands.